Here we go. Welcome in, everybody. Hector Gomez, John Williams, Tracy Bogert, president of the Bear County MAGA Republicans. He's also president of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton fan club and the South Texas Voter Suppression Patriots. Great to have Tracy Bogert in here. Here we go.
Now, Chris Duel.
You made it to the midpoint of the week, Wednesday. Halfway there. It's all downhill from here. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. And much of what is happening in the sports world is good. I let the Doors finish. It's the polite thing to do. Phoenix wins over the LA Clippers last night. That makes me happy because I don't like Kawhi Leonard. The Houston Astros win 9 in a row. They beat the Baltimore Orioles 3-1. They are the hottest team in baseball. They've won 9 in a row, 3-1 win over Baltimore. Astros have won 10 of their last 11, 13 of their last 15. They've got the most runs in Major League Baseball. They've got the best run differential in Major League Baseball. Oh, and now the Astros have the best record in the American League. Sorry, haters. Oh, and Texas Longhorns, stay alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. Jeremy Fouts might have to play Staying Alive by the Bee Gees later in the show in honor of the Texas Longhorns in the College World Series. Shannon Salty Sweeney on board from beautiful downtown Austin. What is happening this morning?
I mean, you're talking Astros 9 straight, Suns 9 straight in the NBA playoffs.
Whoa.
Ever since that first loss to the Lakers.
God.
They've come back to win 9 straight.
Woo.
And I don't see anybody stopping them anytime soon. The pieces are falling into place for them. Well, almost all of them, unless you are Devin Booker's nose, because they are 2 up in their series for the Western Conference Finals, while the Eastern Conference Finals will play game 1 tonight.
Whoa!
The Suns could potentially close out this entire series by the end of the weekend, putting them back on bed rest, just waiting once again to see who they'll take on in the finals. I'm all for it. I love it. Go Suns.
But as you mentioned, Clippers down 0-2. This is the third straight series now. The Clippers have been down 0-2. We know what happened against your beloved Dallas Mavericks. We know what happened against the Utah Jazz. Now, with Kawhi out, and, just knowing Kawhi, my best guess is he's out for the series because Kawhi doesn't like to rush back from injuries, even if the medical staff says, you're okay. You're okay to play. I don't think so. Uncle Dennis advises me not to play. So I hope you're right, Shannon. I will be able to breathe a lot easier once the evil that is the LA Clippers and number 2, Kawhi Leonard. He is number 2 in more ways than one. He will always be number 2 in my book, Kawhi Leonard. Not that I'm bitter, not that I can't get over it, but yeah, I'll feel a lot better. And whoa, your Texas Longhorns with Peyton Manning in the stands supporting his Tennessee Volunteers. I wonder, it was in Omaha. I wonder if Peyton Manning was saying, Omaha, shut up, Peyton. We're trying to watch the baseball game.
I don't know if he said it, but I'm sure anyone who walked by him was
Omaha.
It was interesting. They only showed Peyton after a Tennessee score.
Really?
So it was only the first couple of innings that we saw Peyton. So who knows if he made it through the whole game or not.
Woo!
Because it was a long one, about 3.5 hours compared to that first Texas game, which went by quickly. The first inning was quick. I mean, it took Texas only 8 pitches to get to the bottom half of that first inning. But a fantastic game. Eric Kennedy knocking out that homer line drive to the right side to bring in 3 runs.
Woo!
First time Texas saw a lead in that game. Tennessee comes back. Texas ties it up 4-4. But then after what probably will be seen as a controversial call, Texas runs in a man from second base after a loose ball. It's called safe at the plate, called safe at home. After review, they stuck with it. but really because there wasn't really anything they could do to overturn it, right? Kind of like in football, there wasn't enough evidence. Had it been called the other way prior to, Texas probably would not have gotten that run in, would have ended that inning, and who knows what could have taken place. But yes, Texas gets the win. Plays Thursday, 6 o'clock against Virginia, and the winner of that game gets to take on Mississippi State for a second time in this College World Series. So what a
Yes.
prize.
That would be Friday. So you would have to beat Virginia Thursday, and then you get to take on Mississippi State on Friday. And I would hope, gosh, Texas, that opening game on Sunday, we've talked about it. They lose 2-1. Was it 15 strikeouts, a College World Series record? 21 strikeouts. Whoops, 6 more than I remembered. So one or two less strikeouts. Just a couple more runs, and they would have. They at 2-1, even though they had an abysmal batting performance with the 21 strikeouts, they were still right there. So hopefully, beat Virginia. A lot of time for the Longhorns to think about it. Get a rematch on Friday against Mississippi State, and hopefully they'll get this thing right back to where they want it.
I mean, for as much as we talk about the Mississippi State pitching, which was fantastic, and then they had another great performance yesterday. I think they've now set a college record for strikeouts in a season. You feel like it's got to end at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know what this rest will do for them, but for Texas, I mean, Ty Madden, they pitched really well during that first game. That's part of what kept them in it. And then Witt came in yesterday and handled business for 5.5 innings as the reliever. Tanner Witt, the man, showed up in the moment, stayed in the moment, got it done for Texas. So great pitching on both sides, but you're right. The bats got to get going for Texas. And yesterday they looked a lot better on that side of things.
Yeah,
and
you mentioned Tanner Witt, 78 pitches in that 5.5 scoreless innings, which and I saw a lot of Texas reporters on Twitter saying, that was big on a lot of levels. Number one, secures the win over Tennessee 8-4 yesterday, but because he was able to go, 5 2/3 innings, Texas didn't have to use up a bunch of pitchers. He went long distance with 78 pitches, keeping a lot of relievers fresh for tomorrow night at 6 against Virginia. So a lot of positives for Texas. And tip of my hat, that is very cool of Peyton Manning to go to. I didn't see Vince Young or Colt McCoy or Major Applewhite in the stands for the Texas Longhorns.
They're still in the working world a little bit more so than Mr. Peyton Manning. Peyton has the time and the means to do whatever whenever he so pleases.
Yeah, didn't Vince Young rake in a lot of that Longhorn money just for sitting at a desk and being
spent it?
Yeah, okay. I'm just saying he should have some frequent flyer miles somewhere. So, so how was your morning, Shannon? Did you go to Dunkin', get some coffee? Anything exciting happened to you this morning?
No, I ended up at Starbucks this morning.
All right.
Which is fine, but they gave me a paper straw.
Bastards.
For a while, they weren't giving any straws, and then they brought the straws back, and now I'm getting paper straws. I'm so tired of paper straws.
You need to just go to eBay or wherever we can buy. I don't even know if you can anymore. Buy just 100 plastic straws, put 15 of them in your glove compartment, 12 of them in your backpack. Just always have some plastic straws ready.
Take this, turtles.
Yeah. Or Whataburger just still giving out the plastic straws. Just go hoard them. Just go to Whataburger. Go, give me 5.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that so many places that did go the paper route, so many people complain because, like, frozen margarita, you cannot give me a frozen margarita with a paper straw. I'm going to run through 5 paper straws just to get through one margarita because they get soggy. They get holes in them. You can't suck it. It's horrible. So a lot of places around here have gone back to regular straws because they don't work. They do not work.
Yeah. I know everybody wants to be environmentally friendly, but
what's good, PETA?
Yeah, we need to be sucking down our margaritas. Come on, people. So, all right, you have a fairly uneventful morning with your
Yeah.
paper straws at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Normal morning for me, no power outage. I got my coffee. I got my actual unsweet iced tea. So I don't have a beverage crisis like yesterday morning. However, our soundscape stylist for the morning, the boy wonder, Jeremy Fouts, the nephew of Hall of Fame NFL quarterback for the San Diego Chargers, Dan Fouts. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Public enemy number one, Jeremy Fouts, pulled over by the San Antonio Police Department at 3 a.m. on the way. Dude, what is your problem, man?
Drugs.
Apparently, I am a public enemy indeed. Somebody around the Bernie area is also driving a 4-door black car because I was pulled over by a cop who I didn't realize was a cop, but I was wondering why they seemingly came out of nowhere from the darkness of the brush to ride my butt for like a mile and then pull me over at the gas station. But yeah, they're looking for a suspect in a black 4-door car, which was not me because it's 2 people. Otherwise, they might have been, patting me down and searching me, but he was very nice and left.
So when they pulled you over, how long did it take for them to realize you're not that guy? You're not that guy, bro.
I think he could tell pretty much immediately from my poof hair because I went to bed right after I showered and my beaming smile. I think he could tell.
So it was one officer, a solo officer,
Yes.
not 2 cops?
Yeah.
And you said you couldn't tell immediately it was a cop. Was it an unmarked vehicle or was it a typical police vehicle?
Oh, no, it was a typical police car. I just couldn't see in the darkness behind me because it was 3 a.m.
Did you play the "Don't you know who I am" card?
I should have been like, "You're pulling me over? I have a radio station to get to, buddy.
I'm Jeremy Fouts. I'm the soundscape stylist. I'm the boy wonder. I'm SATX Foxy Grandpa on Twitter."
Would either of you ever use that as an excuse?
No.
I would never. I went into an Einstein's a couple weekends ago, and they handed me my bagel, and they said salty, and I was like very like, oh, I forgot, because I don't walk around thinking about my job. I looked awful. I had literally rolled out of bed and gone to Einstein's and I was like, oh, hi, thank you, yes. I don't know what to say. I'm not ready for this morning.
I did once. I didn't use "Don't you know who I am," which would be ridiculous for me to use it, but I did. I was once. We used to have a listener, a police officer in Alamo Heights, and they love pulling you over in Alamo Heights. By the way, don't run I think I ran a stop sign or something, but there was an officer who would always call into the radio show. So I knew his name. So I got pulled over for running a stoplight, and he's writing me a ticket. I go, "Hey, do you know Officer so-and-so?" "Yeah, he's a friend of mine." "Yep, friend. Officer, calls into the radio show." He goes, "Yeah, I know him. Here's your ticket. We'll see you in court." So it didn't do me any good.
Oh, no.
I tried to name drop my way out of the ticket. I don't think I've ever gotten it. I hear women get out of tickets more than men, but I've never gotten out of a ticket.
I have only ever had one ticket, and I didn't.
Oh my God. I've had a gazillion tickets over the years. Then I discovered do it at home over the internet traffic school. While
watching TV.
While watching TV and drinking beer. So yeah, you just let it run, and then at the end of each little module, they ask you like 3 to 5 questions to make sure you're watching, but they're easy. So yeah, you can and I used to teach many, many years. In fact, it's where I met my wife. I taught comedy defensive driving. Nothing worse than 2 nights of like 4 hours each trying to entertain angry people who don't want to be there with comedy defensive driving.
Is that scripted?
Yes and no. I mean, there's a little lesson plan you're supposed to follow. And as a comic, if there's certain jokes that have worked before, it's kind of scripted, and that you'll do those jokes when you get to, certain parts of what you were doing. But
That's not online. Like now it could be Zoomed.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. This was a gazillion years ago when I did it. Yeah.
And how many people typically are in one class?
I used to, and this was the 90s. There would be sometimes 50, 60 people in a class. We would do them like in a hotel or a motel banquet room. So yeah. So I mean, sometimes quite a few. So, and I got a wife out of it. So
There you go.
my wife to be, never met her before this, got a speeding ticket, and I had her because I had her driver's license information. I had her name, I had her ad. I mean, I was like a stalker.
See,
So
Jeremy,
I stalked her. I asked her out, and she said yes, and here we are.
you may have missed out on an opportunity to meet your future spouse
See-
by not being the man they were looking for.
I should have been a suspect.
Exactly. So
Dang
it happened.
Wow.
Woo! All
Well,
right.
I'm glad you're not who they're looking for.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me.
That's
You're
me.
not that guy.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm glad you didn't get into an altercation with a police officer. I'm glad.
For the sake of our show.
Yes.
Nothing to do with you personally.
Like Jeremy's not here, but there's a viral video of the cops holding him to the ground. So, all right, lots go. Man, so much going on in the world of sports. Spurs did not win the NBA draft lottery. The odds were against them. We'll talk a little NBA draft lottery. We know who the winner was, as we talked about. We'll get more into it. Phoenix 104, Clippers 103. Paul George missing 2 key free throws with 8.2 seconds left on the clock.
Pandemic P.
I know. Yeah, Pandemic P. He nicknamed himself Playoff P. That's not working so well. Staying alive. There you go. We dedicate this Bee Gees song to the Texas Longhorns in the College World Series. Staying alive. Coming up, your high five play of the day. A little bit later, the Salty Shakedown, sports history, sports birthdays. We're giving away concert tickets later in the show, and in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll go deeper into the NBA playoffs with the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. Lots coming at you between now and 9 o'clock. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. He is public enemy number 1, Jeremy Fouts. I'm Chris. It's the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Beth Settle, welcome in. Good morning. You're very early again this morning. Luisa Alanis. Robert, good morning. Robert says he could have made one shot with his eyes covered. Anthony Del Toro. Robert joining us on YouTube. Hector Gomez. Tracy Bogert. Bear County Chairman of the Greg Abbott for re-election as governor, and probably running for president if Trump doesn't run, by the way. Although Ron DeSantis is the new golden child. They're calling him Reagan-esque in the Republican Party now. John Williams from Dallas. Omaha Steaks. Very nice reference. Okay. I do believe I need coffee. I believe. I believe. All right. What else? All right. I'm going to go on a coffee quest. I shall be right back. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. Ooh, my gosh, there's 9 chats. Public enemy number 1. All right. Cool. I import my own. I don't import. I bring. Import would be an incorrect term. I bring my own coffee in because the coffee here tastes like soap. Somebody washes out the coffee pot here in soap. And I don't think they rinse it out that well. Don't take my word for it. You could ask Tanner. Tanner will tell you the coffee here tastes like soap. So I brew my own damn coffee. And I bring it in. I put it in the microwave. I guzzle it. And I am infusing caffeine into my system. It's the wonder drug that works wonders. Caffeine. Because management frowns on crystal meth.
So how many tickets has everybody had? You know, I'm public enemy number 1, but I've actually never had a ticket before. No, that's crazy. I mean, I have been stopped by the cops before, though. There was one time in college where I may or may not have rolled past the stop sign because I was on my way to go get a pizza. So maybe that's why he was pulling me over. He remembered, you know, my dangerous act. I don't know.
Robert, I think you're just entertaining yourself. Tiny bubbles. Probably 3 a.m. is a good time to check you. I don't even know. Don't know where you're going, Robert. Woo. Oh, I've got 2. Do I have time? Probably not. I can do 1. I've got to edit something. So let's do that. Let us edit. Turn on. I do now. Edit. Hey, Chris here for the clean, crisp. That wasn't good. What was that? Ah. I got you, Robert. Now I understand. Okay, I'm going to save that there. Ah. Here we come. Woo! 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 Toto. Rosanna. Chris Duel show along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Lead singer Bobby Kimball of Toto. Shannon, I think I've told you the story. I once went to a taco truck in Glendale, California with Bobby Kimball of Toto in the car. This was, God, let me think when this was like 1992. And how can I put this politely? Bobby Kimball lived next door to a friend of mine in Toluca Lake, California. And it was 2 a.m. and it was time for a taco truck run. Not that I partook of any, and not to say that Bobby Kimball partook of any illicit herbs, but there were some illicit herbs that were being ingested, I believe, at the time that created something that doctors called the munchies in people. So we were hungry. So we went to a taco truck. Everybody piled in the car. And every song that came on the radio, every single song, Bobby Kimball, who is singing this song, Rosanna, right now, said, I could sing the S out of that song, and then would sing the song with the radio. I could sing the S out of that song. And then he would sing this. He was good. He's a good singer.
I think Weezer sang Africa better than Toto.
Ooh, that could be. Take that, Bobby Kimball.
Yeah.
Weezer could sing the S out of your song, Bobby Kimball. And he was a good guy, though. He was a very good guy. And the tacos were outstanding. Got some street tacos with little corn tortillas. They had beef, as I recall, some onions, some cilantro, and some lime sauce, and they were delicious.
So your game was cilantro, because I know that's apparently one of those things that you either like it or you absolutely hate it.
Well, and the reason I just these were like, and this was before taco trucks were a thing,
right?
But gosh, these tacos were so good, and it was kind of, it's like having weird like clovers and God knows what greenish stuff cilantro is thrown on your tacos, but they were so darn good. And my theory is, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And this is the way they served them. And they were like very authentic tacos. No, not a word of English was spoken by the people serving up the tacos, all Spanish. So I thought these are very authentic. So, and they were delicious. So yeah, I just munched them on down. So yes, I would say yes to cilantro.
Brett, I take it or leave it. I don't ask for it to be off of my taco, but
So you don't
ask
throw
for
it
to be
away.
on. Yeah.
You don't go, damn it, you put some cilantro on my
Now
taco.
I can't eat it.
Damn you,
Throw it.
Torchies. What are you people? Don't you know who I am?
Speaking
I'm
of
Shannon Salty Sweeney.
of Torchies, they put cilantro in their queso, and there was a couple of years ago when the all the cilantro was bad, right, coming in from Mexico, and restaurants were like, we don't currently have it because but I think the word got late to Torchies.
Uh-oh.
I had some of that queso with some of that cilantro, and I got to revisit it a few hours later. Let's just say that.
Ooh, that's not pretty.
But other than that, it's great.
So would you to this day recommend the queso at Torchies?
Yeah, absolutely. One
Okay.
of the best there is.
Woo.
But if there's ever a cilantro crisis again, maybe just wait it out.
Exactly.
Word
And-
may not get to everyone at the same time,
Yeah.
you know?
Watch the news, Torchies, please. All right. Coming up, speaking of, and we'll get into this after the high five play of the day, probably. Speaking of illicit ingestion of green herbs, not cilantro, but the marijuana, an Aggie and a Laker. Both. He's an Aggie and a Laker. 2 reasons to hate him. I'm just kidding, Aggies. We love you. James Allen, if you're listening. But anyway, an Aggie and a Laker getting in trouble for maybe possessing some of that. We'll get into that. But that's such a negative story. Why don't we cleanse the palate with something to celebrate, something to give a high five for? We call this our high five play of the day. And not only is it the name of the segment, it's the name of a cool entertainment, gaming, kid-friendly, adult-friendly, beverages, food, 2 locations in Austin called High Five. Shannon hangs out there. Shannon has watch parties there. Shannon, you know a whole lot more about it than I do.
Yeah. And it's a fantastic spot that next time you're in town, you should make sure you swing by. Fantastic burgers. And I had the egg rolls, which I think for most would be a surprising thing to eat at a sports bar, but
Yeah.
so good.
Woo.
I think the sauce is what makes it.
What kind of sauce?
It's like I don't even know.
Because, I mean, at a Chinese restaurant, they have that mustard sauce that...
Kind of a sweet glaze
Okay.
of some sort, but they're seasonal egg rolls, so it's always a surprise what kind of egg roll they're gonna have.
Nice.
Up in there. And today, of course, Wednesday, so all day happy hour, and it's game day, folks.
Woo!
Austin FC with a game tonight in Minnesota. So get by High Five, an official Austin FC pub club, and they'll be having those drink specials with those specialty drinks just for the game. My family and I think we tried all 4 at the watch party.
Excellent.
And yes, we approve. We very much approve of the drink specials. So get the High Five if you're needing a place to watch the game. And Chris, today's High Five play of the day, it came very, very easily. And if you watched or just woke up to the news of the Suns winning and how they won, well, then you know what our high five play of the day is. And we've got the audio of it happening for you right here.
Not an easy inbound with that big body in front of you. Crowder looking, throws it alley. He puts it down! He puts it down!
To win the game, Jay Crowder inbounds to DeAndre Ayton for the dunk to put the Suns up 2-0 in their series against the Clippers. Adam Silver, I don't know what y'all were worried about with the Lakers going out and LeBron not being in the playoffs. I think the ratings are up right now, sir.
Nice.
I think the conversation online is up right now, sir. I think people are loving the playoffs, maybe even more than they have in years past, because all of the excitement and the stories we've never seen. Devin Booker was getting pushed by Cousins after the game. There was a head bashing between, not on purpose, but Bradley Beal, Devin Booker running into each other, bashing heads. For anyone who hasn't seen Devin Booker's new nose this morning, don't go looking for it.
Ugh.
Just that image should be enough. So much excitement, and then for the game to end like this, of course, following those 2 missed free throws by Playoff P, aka Pandemic P, when he plays like this. I thought it was fantastic. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in the NBA. I didn't even know it was really a thing you could do, because I guess why don't people do it more often?
Yeah.
But a fantastic play. It is up on our socials if you have not gotten the chance to see it. Chris, I love it.
Well, and what you're talking about, and a lot of people did not realize the rule. There's no offensive or defensive goal. Well, I guess there is defensive goaltending if a guy took a shot, but offensive goaltending on an inbounds pass. So as you mentioned, Shannon, Jay Crowder with the inbounds pass tosses it above the hoop, and DeAndre Ayton, maybe the tallest guy on the court at that moment, and can leap. DeAndre Ayton just skies high for the ball and slams it in. And, some people go, whoa, that was over the cylinder. That's offensive goaltending. No. Monty Williams and the coaching staff of the Phoenix Suns knew the rule book. And on an inbounds pass there is no goaltending. And you're right, Shannon. Why don't more and more NBA teams, when you've got just seconds or fractions of seconds left, why don't they go to this play on an inbounds pass? You don't see it that often. You see it to go to a jump shooter who tries to just jack it up, catch and shoot real quick. But they worked it to perfection. Jay Crowder, the inbounds pass, DeAndre Ayton with the alley-oop slam dunk in the final seconds, or in the final second, to be more accurate. Wow. Tremendous win. Phoenix wins 104-103. And the other thing you mentioned, Paul George, who gave himself the playoff name, or gave himself the...
It makes it worse.
God, it makes it horrible. Playoff P. I'm Paul George. I'm Playoff P. Well, Playoff P goes to the free throw line with 8.2 seconds left with 2 free throws. If he makes them both, they get a 3-point lead. Clippers were up by 1.
Running that inbounds play.
You got to do a catch and shoot, jack it up 3-point shot to pray for overtime. And even if they would have hit that, you would have had overtime. Paul George. Wow. Rough. He misses both free throws, opening the door for Phoenix, and Phoenix took full advantage with that great alley-oop game winner by DeAndre Ayton.
And Ayton was getting up all night. 35 minutes played, 24 points, 14 rebounds, and most notably, getting up after it to slam it home for the victory for the Suns as they now head to LA. It's the big bad boys of Arizona.
But the Terminator movie isn't over until you're sure the Terminator is dead. As we know, and I mentioned it earlier, Dallas was up 2-0 on the Clippers. Clippers came back and won. Utah was up 2-0 on the Clippers. Clippers came back and won. The first team in NBA history in consecutive playoff series to come back from 0-2. This is number 3 in a row. Shannon, I can only pray that 3 is a charm. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, the Suns have won 9 in a row now. They are on fire. I got to believe the Suns are going to take care of business here.
If Kawhi does not come back, I do not see them having a chance here. Because even though he didn't finish out that last series, he was a part of the series up front, and he was a part of that Mavs series, and he brings something extra to that team that they just don't have right now. And this whole, is it just a knee? Is it an ACL? We don't actually know what it is. All of that is very weird, which leads you to believe that it is something that will keep him out much longer than expected. I don't see it happening this time around for the Clippers. I think they're worn out at this point. They are playing once again against a fresh Suns team because they were just waiting to see who they were going to take on, and here they are. Like I said, they could finish this series by the weekend.
Oh man,
where the Eastern Conference Finals doesn't start until tonight.
Gosh.
And I don't, our poll question today asking who will win tonight's first game of the Eastern Conference Finals. Bucks Atlanta. 75% saying Bucks, 25% saying Atlanta. I think the Bucks probably get this series pretty easily, but I think Atlanta will squeak one out. So that's 5 games right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be sitting at home for a week and a half, just resting up, letting Devin Booker like learn how to breathe again. 'Cause I don't know what his breathing's gonna look like after. I mean, he had stuff all over his nose. He had something stuck up in it last night during the presser.
And who was it that whacked him? Was it?
He ran into Bradley Beal.
Okay.
They collided.
My goodness.
I don't. It's very strange, and it was funny. I saw a graphic because apparently the last 90 seconds of last night's game lasted 33 minutes.
Oh, thank God I didn't stay up for it.
That's basketball for you.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But for the graphic, they did like caricatures of Booker and PG-13, and Devin Booker's caricature had been changed to a scuff on his nose in the cartoon.
Oh
Pretty
no.
fantastic. I mean, they were on top of it. But a fantastic series. I'm fully on board the Suns for their shot at an NBA championship.
Yeah.
I'm in it.
Lots of
Suns
reasons.
support guy, where you at?
But man, if it becomes, and by the way, you talked about, and it is our poll question tonight's game. Who do you got, Bucks or Hawks? I just looked at the line, Shannon. 7.5. Bucks are favored by 7.5 points tonight. I know they're at home.
Is that the height differential between Giannis and Trey?
Could be. But if I really like the Suns, I love Monty Williams. I like Chris Paul. I'm more and more. I'm liking the Suns. But if it's Bucks versus Suns, you got Mike Budenholzer, the Spurs ties. Giannis is such a good guy. I don't know. I don't know who I would want. That it would be might be a coin flip for me. It would be kind of a win-win. Mm-hmm. I like and even if Atlanta gets in, I mean Trae Young, Atlanta's a lot of fun. Yeah. As long as the Clippers go away, I would be happy with Suns versus either one of those two teams.
Well, now that we're talking about the Bucks here, some news yesterday, and a guy that we haven't been giving enough credit to. I think we're going to start giving him more credit. Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday named to the Olympic roster.
Woo!
So
they're getting some names.
Guys that you may not be cheering for right now, but later on this summer, you most certainly will be. And congrats to them, because again, I don't know that beginning of the season you're thinking of the Olympic team and you're like, oh yeah, Chris Middleton, Andrew Holiday. So those are them. Those are our guys.
And Chris Middleton in particular, Shannon, I've been eating my words ever since these playoffs began. I said early in the playoffs, Chris Middleton is not really all that. He's not really a Robin to Giannis's Batman. It's not really a twosome like a Kawhi and a Paul George or a LeBron James and an Anthony Davis. So far, I have been wrong. Very wrong, and I admit it when I'm wrong. Chris Middleton, dude, you have come to play. You have shown up, and I hope you keep a good thing going here.
I mean, some dudes just do that. They show up when it matters most and not necessarily the rest of the time. Also joining them, as we found out yesterday, Kevin Love. And that should be interesting, because I think the biggest headline he was a part of this year was when he threw a temper tantrum on the court.
True.
Later had to apologize. So it'll be interesting to see him play with, other people who are actually good at basketball.
Shannon mentioned Africa. Get a little Africa here. Coming up, he's an Aggie. He's a Laker. He's arrested for weed in College Station. Little, and he's from College Station. Didn't just go to college. Little hometown, break maybe, officer. Don't you know who I am? I'm not Johnny Manziel. I'm not a party. It's like, so I got a little weed. We'll talk about that and a lot more. I think you know who he is. If you don't, we'll tell you who he is. Coming up, she's Shannon Salty Sweeney. He is public enemy number one, pulled over by the police himself just this morning. Jeremy Fouts. I'm Chris. We're with you until 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Oh, I've got to edit once again. Here we go. Let me do this. There you go, Jason. You are correct. Clint Proctor, welcome in. Ray Harper agrees on the egg rolls at high five. Tracy Bogert says hashtag Abbott hates dogs, which is interesting, as Tracy Bogert is the Bexar County chairman of the Craig Abbott reelection campaign. Let's see. Okay, let me go do this. I got one. I need more. Let's open.
year? Are you ramping up for the 4th of July weekend? I am. So many options outdoors, the park, the river, great baseball at Dell Diamond, the Round Rock Express against Sugarland. You got another home game for Austin FC at Q2 Stadium against the Portland Timbers. Get out there, enjoy it with the clean and crisp taste of Bud Light. Where there's fun, there's a Bud Light. Enjoy friends, enjoy family, and enjoy Bud Light. Please enjoy responsibly. Hey, Chris here. How wonderful is the 4th of July weekend? Time to make plans, hang out with family, friends, outdoors, by the river, at the park, or maybe at the Dell Diamond, Round Rock Express against Sugarland, Q2 Stadium, Austin FC versus the Portland Timbers on July 3rd. So many options, so much fun. Just enjoy. And enjoy with a Bud Light, the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light. Bud Light, please enjoy responsibly.
Wes Perkins, welcome in. Yeah, I haven't looked at available players at number 12 yet. Wes, clearly you have Luca Garza in the second round. Yeah, Wes, that is true about the Suns. And I believe Atlanta also. I don't think they were in the playoffs a year ago. I'll have to check that. But yeah, pretty amazing. Venice Dembo. Very nice reference. Jason, one of the greatest names ever. Venice Dembo.
This is the Chris Duel Show. You know the day destroys the night. Now, Chris Duel.
It is Wednesday. You know what that means. Midpoint. You're halfway done with the week. It's all downhill from here. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel Show along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. She'll be bringing you her salty shakedown this hour. fact, about a half an hour from now, you'll also get updated on this day in sports history, sports birthdays, and more. 8 o'clock hour, our good friend Bill Schoening, voice of the San Antonio Spurs, longtime voice of the Texas Longhorns before that. Bill Schoening actually vacationing in Bethany Beach, Delaware. So he's kind enough to join us from his vacation. We'll talk NBA playoffs with him. I know he's originally from Philly. So, I mean, obviously he's a Spurs guy first and foremost. So God love him. But secondly, he grew up as a Sixers fan. We'll see how he's feeling about Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers. So much going on in the world of sports. Shannon and I were all over it in the 6 o'clock hour, but we will continue to be so throughout the morning until 9 o'clock. Phoenix with a DeAndre Ayton alley-oop game winner in the final second of regulation. They beat the LA Clippers last night, 104-103. Phoenix takes a 2-0 lead in that series. College baseball, College World Series yesterday. Longhorns stay alive. They beat Tennessee 8-4 in Omaha. Peyton Manning was there watching his Tennessee Volunteers. Sorry, Peyton. Thursday night, which is tomorrow at 6, Texas takes on Virginia. Again, that's an elimination game for both teams. It's a double elimination. Longhorns have lost one game, as has Virginia. Winner of that game, as Shannon told you in the 6 o'clock hour, will get Mississippi State on Friday in the College World Series. Speaking of baseball, Astros are the hottest team in baseball. They've won 9 in a row. They've now got the best record in the American League. They score more runs than anybody in baseball. They've got the best run differential in baseball. They've won 9 straight, 10 of 11, 13 out of 15. They beat the Baltimore Orioles 3-1 yesterday, which was absolutely beautiful. Shannon Salty Sweeney, it's a beautiful morning in America, a morning in Texas. And oh, by the way, our soundscape stylist pulled over by the police this morning as misidentified as a suspect in his black sedan trying to drive to work. The boy wonder, Jeremy Fouts. You know him, you love him, you can't get enough of him. So
Jeremy, aside from this being a day that you will forever remember as being the day you were almost caught, you got away with it this time. Good for you.
This time.
Do we have anything else going on today? Because I was very disappointed that Monday you were here and it was National Dachshund Day.
Mhm.
And your girl has 4 dachshunds.
Oh, he missed that. We missed that.
Apologize.
I had to wait for a text from my mother.
Oh,
I'm very sorry.
You have a job when you're here.
no wonder the cops pulled him over. They pulled him over for slacking.
So do you have anything for me today, or can
Let's see
can
if
we
I
do?
can pick it
Okay,
up
we
to
can
you.
wait. We can wait later.
Let's see. Yeah, he hasn't.
It's
He's so discombobulated by his police encounter. He hadn't even looked yet.
I got some stuff. It is National Pink Day.
Pink, as in the
Because it's
singer.
Wednesdays,
The
on
color
Wednesday-
pink.
On
Okay.
Wednesdays we wear pink. Yes.
Exactly.
We should play some Pink.
And it is also Pink Flamingo Day. Like
So, a lot
the
of pink
ones in
going on.
your yard. Like the
Oh, like
plastic ones.
plastic.
I never understood that. I never understood putting that in your yard.
When I was in high school band, we would have to go what they called flamingoing to raise money.
Okay.
And it's where you go and you put flamingos in people's yards, and then you ding dong ditch, and then they come out and there's flamingos, and you're like, "Hey, we're the band. You want to give us some money? We just put a bunch of holes in your yard."
Wow. How'd that work out?
I am already like too socially shy to even take part, but you had to go to at least a couple of nights of this, so I would just sit on the curb while everyone else ran away and did whatever.
Was there ever a very angry homeowner who just did not want you putting?
No, most people just didn't answer the door, which is the
Okay.
kind of person I am.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer the door.
That's how I handle trick or treaters. It's like lights are off. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
There's a reason I didn't have kids, and no, I'm not answering the door. So, and I know that's horrible. I know I'm a bad man, but there could be a future Kawhi Leonard knocking at your door. You never know. There could be a future axe murderer, the next Charles Manson, little Chucky Manson wants some
both sides.
Butterfingers. So yeah, all right, I'm a bad guy. Speaking of bad guys, and I don't think I think we need to get over this in America because so many states have legalized marijuana. In the great state of Texas yesterday, a Texas Aggie, so Shannon might take a little bit of glee in this. Well, he's an Aggie and a Laker, so thank God it wasn't like a Longhorn and a Spur. Or a Longhorn and a Maverick in Shannon's case. He was an Aggie and a Laker. But until I Wikipedia'd him, I didn't realize he grew up in College Station. So I don't totally hold it against him.
Go back.
Yeah, you're a Laker now, dude. Shouldn't you be hanging out in Beverly Hills? Alex Caruso, who grew up in College Station, who went to Texas A&M and is now a Laker. 27-year-old Alex Caruso was arrested, I see, by TSA agents at Easterwood Airport in College Station. They allegedly found a grinder and weed residue. It wasn't even weed. It was weed residue. So they contacted Texas A&M police, who arrested Alex Caruso. He was released on a $3,000 cash bond, according to Brazos County jail records. He has paid a $552 fine for the paraphernalia charge. I think, Shannon, can we move on? Can we go after real criminals like Jeremy Fouts, who really need to be pulled, and not Alex Caruso, who has weed paraphernalia. And I know somebody, hey man, weed is a drug. All right, whatever. It grows naturally on the earth. God put it on the earth because he wants, or she wants, you to smoke it. I'm just saying, except in Texas. I don't know, Shannon. Am I too libertarian when it comes to marijuana?
Here's my thing. One, I think he's in free agency, so I don't think this will hinder him getting on another team. I think that'll be all about his play. And he did.
This could help him
a lot for the Lakers, so it wouldn't be too surprising if they re-sign him. Two, I don't care what preferences are for people on the marijuana itself, but I am a rule follower, and the rules is the rules in Texas. And if you're coming from Texas, a place where you are from and you are very familiar with, and particularly College Station, which is, they're not messing around.
They're a little conservative.
Why would you put yourself in that position at all?
Well, and see, and I'm not even
Alex, I'm sorry you had to pay the change that was probably in your pocket to get out of jail or whatever, but he'll be fine. This is news because it's the off season and there's nothing else to talk about the Lakers because people are tired of LeBron. If he wasn't a Laker, it probably wouldn't even be a story.
True. Well,
Laker.
See, I don't even know what a grinder is. I mean, I guess a grinder by definition, I guess you get your weed and you grind it so that you can then roll a joint and then.
Sir, I am not the one to answer that question.
Yeah, Jeremy, you were pulled over this morning. You've got a criminal record. What is a grinder? I'm assuming, because I actually don't smoke weed. I'm not against it. It's like, if you want to smoke it, do it. But I don't. I mean, you hand one to me at a concert, I might take a hit. But so Jeremy, you're our resident criminal now. So you're our crime correspondent because you've been pulled over now.
Right.
So what is a grinder?
I think you're right. Now, I also do not smoke weed.
Oh, come on, Jeremy.
But, I have a lot of dealings in the dark underbelly of the world. I've seen horrible things, and I know, or I think, that you are correct that they're grinding the weed to make it easier to put into a doobie. But I don't do that.
So by definition, Shannon, Alex Caruso didn't have weed. He had a grinder that had pot residue on it.
I think paraphernalia, though, is within the same
area
as actually having, because I know like apartments and when you sign leases, if they come in to do maintenance or whatever and there's paraphernalia, that's the same X as if they actually saw the substance.
Don't they sell paraphernalia at Planet K? Doesn't Planet K sell bongs and grinders and whatever else you need? Papers?
I think that's what they do. A store I've never been in.
Planet K is cool. I've been to Planet K, and they've got cool T-shirts. They've got cool books and magazines, and I like Planet K. They should be sponsors of the show. Hey, everybody.
Another
Our new
round
sponsor,
that just
Planet K.
never had a reason to venture in.
You should go just to expand your horizons, just to see. I mean, they do. They've got great shirts and patches you can put on your blue jean jacket. They've got like Oracle cards. They've got like tarot cards you can buy. They got all kinds of stuff in Planet K.
How are they in business?
They got High Times magazine. They got magazines. Terrence McKenna on the cover of High Times magazine. The late great Terrence McKenna. I'm just saying. All right. So anyway, Alex Caruso, there you have it. Hopefully, Governor Greg Abbott will expunge his police record.
Since we're on the topic of foreign substances,
Yes.
some maybe not so foreign to some, others maybe still foreign, but the MLB, they're now cracking down on using spider tack and other variants for pitchers. And last night, Mr. Max Scherzer, we'll have to get in with our man Bill Schoening coming up, because the Nationals played the Phillies last night, and Max Scherzer kept getting checked by the umps. And there was one point where they got out of the inning and he's staring down the Phillies baseline, and a manager gets thrown out because he gets upset about Max Scherzer staring. And then there's another incident where they're checking Max Scherzer again, and he just starts to take off his pants because he has had enough. He throws his glove down. He's had enough. Same incident happened with the A's and one of their relievers. As he's walking off the mound, comes over. He immediately just throws down his gloves, starts undoing his belt, and pulls down. He's like, what do you want from me? Right? Because, and I get it. Like, if you're a guy who's been playing the game the right way, this is, now all of a sudden you're performing at the level you're supposed to perform at as a professional athlete at this level, and you are automatically accused of cheating. And they got to check you because these are now the rules. And it's annoying, and it slows down the game. And, right now it's the first we're seeing it of guys, really pulling down their pants and throwing their gloves and hats to the side and saying, look, there's nothing wrong here, and kind of throwing a fit. And I think kind of rightfully so, but it's going to get old really quickly. And the MLB has issues. I mean, they take one problem, and then instead of fixing it, they just create a different problem. I mean, it's not even a Band-Aid at this point. It's like they've just tried to smudge the blood off, but you're still bleeding.
And part of, and you just mentioned it, Shannon, and again, this is part of why baseball is so weird. Like when you do a bat flip or when you do something that's disrespectful, part of the story that you alluded to, Max Scherzer stared down the Philadelphia dugout. It's like, ooh, how dare you, sir? How dare you stare down the dugout? That's when Philadelphia manager Joe Girardi said, I'll have none of that. You don't stare this dugout down. So he walked onto the field angry, and then he gets tossed. Why'd you walk on the? Well, he was staring us down. How dare he's like, he was ticked off.
I mean, that happened during the Texas-Tennessee game yesterday. A coach for Tennessee wasn't happy with a particular call from the ump for his pitcher, and he was holding a binder, and he threw it out of the dugout and started talking smack, and they threw him out almost immediately. I think there were also a couple instances where people thought that the Tennessee head coach was maybe getting close to that point. But it's so weird what the MLB decides is offensive, and then others that they just let it go because they don't want to deal.
Yeah, and it is, we talk about the Astros a lot, and we should, because a lot of us, myself included, are Astros fans. Astros have won 9 in a row, but you think Jeremy Fouts is public enemy number one. The Astros, obviously, public enemy number one across Major League Baseball for cheating. And now, I mean, there are levels of cheating. You could argue pitchers are being disciplined and checked, as Max Scherzer was yesterday, for being suspected to have broken the rules or breaking the rules. And you could also define that as cheating. And it's so weird. And my only guess, Shannon, and I want to see if you agree, the reason Major League Baseball is cracking down is there are not enough runs being scored, other than the Astros, who lead the Major League Baseball in runs scored. But is that how you read this? That there's baseball, I think, is realizing not only do chicks dig the long ball, but young people, you need you need the TikTok generation to really love baseball or fall in love with baseball. And one of the ways to do that is score a lot of runs. And is this why they're trying to make it more difficult to pitch and be a pitcher right now in Major League Baseball?
I think baseball has two problems that they cannot fix because they are just part of the game. People want action. They say it's slow and it's boring, and it's boring when there's not hits. But when you get strikeouts, it ends the game, right? So if you strike people out, no one's getting hits, but it does end the game faster. People are hitting the long ball, game's going to be extended.
True.
And that's a piece of the game that they cannot change. And so as they make these tweaks, okay, we're going to start getting down on the pitchers. Okay, well, now people may be able to hit more. So, but not only now are we adding length to a game that people already think is boring, we're also adding in the extra checks, right? Because pitchers are already getting checked prior to the games, and now they're coming out to the mound and walking over to them and making them do these things in the middle of the game in front of everybody. I think it's an issue that baseball can't fix just because it's part of the game. So whether or not they're doing this to help the game be more interesting, it's also adding to the length of the game and just another reason why other people aren't interested in baseball.
Yeah, immediately when you use the term boring on Facebook Live, Robert Almares, it is not boring. I mean, obviously, and we get it. There are baseball purists. And it's so weird, Shannon, and I'm one of these guys, I think 162 games is too long for baseball. I mean, once we get to playoff baseball, to me, it's not boring. Then it's really exciting. When there's something on the line,
series is fantastic.
Yeah, I really get into it. But I would agree. I don't get heavily into it during the regular season.
Tuesday night.
Yeah,
and we're not even halfway through the season yet. We're 70 games in. Bell ring.
Yeah. And all right, if you're Major League Baseball and you just outlined, Shannon, and I agree with you, these things that baseball cannot change, it's just the nature of the game, I guess, and they've already tried to do this, the only thing you can control to try to make the games go faster is speed up the pitching. It's like make it, you have to, once you throw a pitch, all right, there's an out, there's a strikeout, there's a ground ball, whatever it is, but the pitcher needs to throw his next pitch to either the same batter or the next batter quicker, which I don't have. I mean, I know pitchers, they've been pitching and playing. All players have played a certain way all their lives, dating back to Little League. But I do agree games need to be sped up, ideally. So I don't have a problem with, come on, let's go. Pitch, next pitch. Let's go. Batter, go. Pitch. I'm cool with that.
It's like the PGA, right? You can't take as long as Bryson DeChambeau wants to take. And there were, in the Texas, Tennessee, there were 2 pitching clock violations that happened yesterday. And again, when thinking about, okay, well, if they're doing this to the pitchers, what are the batters going to do to, do they adjust the types of bats that are allowed to be played with in order for them to hit more homers or whatever? Like, it just is this cycle that I don't think we're ever going to get out of. They're just going to keep adjusting and readjusting, and maybe that'll interest people and maybe it'll turn people away. But the essence of the game, of what makes it baseball, are the things you cannot change. I just the MLB just, I don't know, burn it down and start from scratch. I don't know what to tell them anymore.
Yeah, I don't either. But I do agree. And part of baseball's problem, and again, I'm saying this as a guy who loves playoff baseball. I'm an Astros fan. My favorite movie ever is Field of Dreams, which is it is a baseball movie, but it's so much more than that. If you haven't seen it, go see it or get it. I mean, it's out there. It was made in 1989, but baseball was founded in the 1800s. It was a game for a different time. There was no internet. There was no social media. There was no TV. There was no TikTok or Instagram it was sit back with your dad and go to the ballpark and let's enjoy a baseball game. Times were a lot slower so that is part of the problem. NBA, lots of action. Football, even though, in between plays, the huddles take a while. You could argue compared to the NBA football and compared to soccer, maybe football, there's a lot of stops, but still lots of hardcore action in football. To be honest, if you add up all the action in baseball versus the 2 hours and 32 minutes it typically takes to play a baseball game, there's like 10 minutes of action spread over 2 hours and 32 minutes. So there's that. All right. Coming up, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. How salty shall she be on this Wednesday? We're about to find out. This day in sports history, there was some Spurs history made on this day. We'll tell you about that. Sports birthdays, a great Cowboys wide receiver celebrating a birthday today. One of the greatest running backs ever from the great state of Texas celebrating a birthday today. We'll let you know who those people are. And a vilified, hated NFL owner who is now dead celebrating a birthday today. We'll tell you who those peeps are. Jeremy Fouts pulled over by the police before the show today. We'll see if they're waiting for him in the parking lot after the show. We'll see if maybe they ran his plates and they go, oh, we should have taken this guy in. He's your soundscape stylist. Shannon making the show happen with saltiness. Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs at 8 o'clock. Oh, and we're giving away tickets. What is it? Cambria and help me out, Shannon. Who is it? Coheed and Cambria. That's how much I'm into them. I'm learning. I'm getting into them. I heard they were on Guitar Hero. Quick break. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. Coheed and Cambria. Coheed. Let me write that down so I don't have to remember it. I'll have it written down. It'll all be good. Coheed and Cambria, people. Come on. There it is. Coheed and Cambria, for the love of God. That's a weird name for a band. I prefer Toto. Meet me at the altar. Okay, now I got it written down, so now I'm good. All right, speaking of writing, I need to send out an email. Well, Wes Perkins, you got a ticket? You're a criminal? You're a criminal like Jeremy Fouts? Knock on wood, I've avoided being pulled over, gosh, for a few years now. I think the last time was in Alamo Heights when I tried to drop the name of a fellow officer. Did me no good. And my God, that was like probably 2011. It's probably been 10 years. I might have made it 10 years unscathed. Back in a sec.
Robert, I see you asking me on the YouTube stream, which thank you for joining us on there. That's very cool. Do I collect records? No. I've never been like a vinyl guy. Like any time I've ever asked someone like, oh, why do you listen to vinyl? Why do you like vinyl over a CD or digital? They're like, oh, it sounds warmer. I don't know what that means. Like, it's a warmer sound. Like, okay, not my thing, but I'm not against vinyls, but I've never been like my record player guy. But I went to like a liberal arts high school, and like, so it was either like you were a ukulele kid or you were a record player kid or both. And I was not either one of those. But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to records. I just usually sail the high seas for my music. I have a lot of music on my phone. Not that I didn't purchase all of it, but some of it may have ended up on there, not from the iTunes store. That's what I'll say.
Luisa Alanis, welcome in. Dave Emilio Castanuela, welcome in. Yeah, I hear, and I don't know a bunch of the names yet. I'm going to start researching that now that we know the Spurs are picking at 12. But I hear it's a good draft. I hear there are good available players. So I will assume the Spurs will do well. Here we come. It's a nice groove from Public Enemy #1, Jeremy Fouts. All right, Jeremy, help me out. Who we listening to?
Safety Dance by Men in Hats.
Oh, see this. I remember Safety Dance by Men in Hats. This is old school.
This is my younger brother's favorite song.
Your younger brother's How old is your younger brother?
He is 16.
He is 16, and this song is like 45 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
Good old Jordan Fouts.
Your younger brother, Jordan Fouts.
Yes.
That's a good sports name. He could be a football player or a basketball player. Jordan Fouts. It's a great name. Very cool. All right. Chris Duel Show. That is Public Enemy #1, Jeremy Fouts. If you were listening earlier, pulled over by the San Antonio police at 3:00 this morning, somewhere near Boerne, Texas. His car fit the description of a suspect car. Jeremy was mercifully released by the police. Otherwise, we'd have a hard time getting on the air this morning. So thank you, SAPD, for not incarcerating Jeremy Fouts. All right. in a moment. Shannon's Salty Shakedown. Do want to mention, because I only mentioned it once and I forgot the name, because I'm terminally unhip when it comes to new music. Coheed and Cambria. The kids love them. In fact, Jordan Fouts will probably maybe be at this concert. Coheed and Cambria, along with The Used and special guest Meet Me at the Altar on September 4th at Circuit of the Americas. We're going to give those tickets away in less than an hour. In fact, I'll even tell you right around 8:20-ish when we're talking with Bill Schoening. We're going to talk some NBA playoffs with the vacationing Bill Schoening, who is chilling at Bethany Beach in Bethany Beach, Delaware on vacation. Get his thoughts on the NBA playoffs and more. Bill Schoening joining us just after 8 o'clock, 8:20, your chance to win tickets. We are with you until 9. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. We are moments away from the morning Salty Shakedown. That would be Jeremy, your soundscape stylist. I'm Chris. But first, some sports birthdays and this day in sports history. June 23rd, 1961. Chicago Cub Ernie Banks ends his 717 consecutive games played streak. That's a lot of games. 162 games in a season. He played 717 straight. This day in 1968, at a soccer match, 74 spectators are killed, 150 injured in a stampede towards a closed exit at Buenos Aires Stadium in Argentina. Damn. Soccer can kill. This day in 1969, a guy who Bill Schoening once wrote a song about, Smoking Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier with a technical knockout of Jerry Quarry in 8 rounds for the heavyweight boxing title back in Jerry Quarry was like a dude who got beat up by everybody. Joe Frazier beat him up. Muhammad Ali beat him up. He was good, but not quite good enough to beat the big boys. Jerry Quarry. This day in 1988, the New York Yankees fire manager Billy Martin. It was his 5th stint as manager with the New York Yankees. He got hired and fired 5 times. Lou Piniella was named the new manager for the Yankees. This day in 2003, Barry Bonds steals second base against the LA Dodgers, becoming the first player in Major League Baseball history to have 500 career homers and 500 steals. And finally, this day, June 23rd, 2005, NBA Finals, the San Antonio Spurs defeat the Detroit Pistons in Game 7, 81-74 at, I believe, was that the Alamo Dome? No, that was AT&T Center. At the AT&T Center to win their 3rd NBA title. Tim Duncan is your most valuable player. It's his 3rd MVP award. Go Spurs, go. Spurs win the NBA title over the Pistons on this day in 2005. That's sports history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1925, he would become hated in Cleveland, Ohio. Art Modell, American businessman, longtime owner of the Cleveland Browns until one night under the cover of darkness, he packed up the moving vans and moved the Browns to Baltimore, where they became the Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland was re-awarded a franchise years later and became the Browns once again. But Art Modell would be hated for the rest of his life. He died in 2012. Art Modell, born this day in 1925 in Brooklyn, New York. Born on this day in 1940, American athlete, Olympic gold medalist, 3-time Olympic gold medalist, Wilma Rudolph. She won Olympic gold in 1960. Wilma Rudolph was born in St. Bethlehem, Tennessee. She passed away in 1994. Born on this day in 1956, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver, played on the other side of Drew Pearson, caught a lot of touchdown passes from Roger Staubach. In fact, he caught Roger's final regular season touchdown pass to beat the Washington football team, the final game of the regular season in 1979, giving the Cowboys the NFC East. Out of Stanford, number 80, Tony Hill, born on this day in 1956. And finally, born on this day in 1979, one of the greatest running backs to come out of the great state of Texas. No, it's not Ricky Williams. It's LaDainian Tomlinson, TCU, San Diego Chargers, Pro Football Hall of Famer, LaDainian Tomlinson, born on this day in 1979. There you have it. Sports birthdays, sports history. Go Spurs, go. Now it's time. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, friends, Romans, countrymen, and criminals, Jeremy Fouts, it is time for your morning salty shakedown.
All right, let's get into some Horns news. Of course, we have Texas baseball in the College World Series, defeating Tennessee in the elimination match yesterday evening, I guess it was.
Omaha!
To move on, they will play Virginia on Thursday at 6 o'clock. The winner of that game will go on to play Mississippi State, a team that they have now both lost to in the College World Series. So I'm hoping Texas is up for the challenge. If they played like they did yesterday, I have no fear of them continuing on in the College World Series. Exciting game yesterday. Exciting time for Texas, and Tanner Witt, you demand. You demand. But in Texas football news, we've been talking about a lot of the highs, right? We've got a brand new coaching staff. That stadium is getting that redo in the end zone. It's going to be ready to go. The Longhorn that the team is going to run through is looking sweet. We've seen a lot of recruits come in. Arch Manning, Malik, both quarterbacks, Malik Murphy, Westlake, offensive lineman Connor Robertson was recently here. All of them look to be enjoying their time on campus, right? They're hanging out with Sark. They're doing photo shoots on the fields at the all gas, no breaks. They're putting on the jerseys. They are being catered to. It looks like they're loving it. It's all looking great. Sark is hitting the streets. He's going all over Texas. He's making friends with all the high school coaches, as he should. He's building those relationships and setting those foundations for the future of the Texas football program. But for all this good, I'm salty. I got to come in and let you know what else is going on. And it's not all great. For the wide receiver room in Texas, there has been some trouble. And just this week alone, first things first, over the weekend, wide receiver Keith Ron Lee was arrested for assault charges and was later released on a $5,000 bond. Sark has suspended him. How long that suspension is, we do not know. He has not been kicked off the team. He is an incoming freshman, so we don't really know what we have with him quite yet. But he has been suspended, and I think rightfully so. Hopefully, because we all remember Joshua Moore, right? He had an incident, but it changed his course. He had that year out where he was suspended and he didn't play. And he said that changed me in my direction. And he showed up on the field last year for Texas. So he is still in that wide receiver room, which is great news because yesterday it was announced that wide receiver and frequent contributor, when he's not hurt, Jake Smith has entered the transfer portal. He has been a big name in that wide receiver room, again, when he hasn't been hurt. Most notably, he didn't catch that would have been touchdown pass against LSU that people might never forgive him for. But he's a big guy and was supposed to be number one go-to receiver this upcoming season. He got hurt in May, the first day of spring practice, but he's been back in action for conditioning, and he was supposed to be ready to go come the season. But yesterday, he entered the transfer portal. No real clue of where he might end up, but a lot of players so far have been transferring to your very own USC, sir. So what do you think about possibly getting another Texas transfer to add to, I think, a pretty already stacked USC wide receiver room?
Yeah, led by Texas transfer Brew McCoy, who famously started at USC, went to Texas, and then was not digging the scene there with the previous Texas coach, and now went back to USC. And apparently Brew McCoy is supposed to be one of the top targets of Keaton Slovis, the USC quarterback this year.
It's just another player that has, and who knows, he may bounce back in, but at this point, this late in the summer, whatever we want to call it, because we're within 100 days of the start of the season. Of course, Texas football will open up with that brand new South End Zone September 4th against Louisiana Lafayette. All right, moving on. Dwight Howard took to Instagram Live yesterday to defend his teammate Ben Simmons. This kind of reminded me of back, I think it was 2007, when a very enthralled Britney Spears fan was crying on video saying, "We gotta leave her alone," and it became a meme, and it's huge. It's still big today. People reference it all the time. This is kind of what it felt like for Dwight Howard when I saw the video. I'd love to play it for you. However, he was blaring music in the background that we cannot get rid of, and it was not edited. Let's just say that. But Dwight Howard on Instagram Live saying he's only 24. We've got to, he's a man, right? So what? He didn't shoot. So what? He didn't do the things he needed to do on the court, which is kind of like, okay, but that's what he gets paid to do. It's not like he made some random life choice mistake that a lot of us maybe make in our off time, right? He just didn't get it done on the court, and that is people's major issue. And if you want people to stop ragging on him, maybe don't bring attention to it, Dwight Howard. Maybe don't go on Instagram Live and have something that now people, I know Instagram Live is live for the moment, and then you can save it, not necessarily other people can go back and watch it. But when you're Dwight Howard and you're talking about a guy who's already being dragged and is a hot topic right now, people are going to record your live recording, and they certainly did. It is now floating around on the internet. So if you'd love to see Dwight Howard's minute-and-a-half rant on why we should leave Ben Simmons alone, you are welcome to do so. I get it. I don't think we should be calling the dude names. I don't think we should be threatening his life, Philly fans.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's okay to say what it is, and that's that he didn't show up. He's probably not worth the 5-year, $177 million guaranteed contract that he has been given. I don't know what we do with Ben Simmons. Eventually, this will all die down, especially when the Olympics come up and as we get closer and closer to the actual finals of the NBA playoffs. But Dwight Howard, you're just bringing more attention to your guy. Don't you think, Chris?
I do. And one quick thing on Ben Simmons, I did see Stephen A. Smith yesterday. And I know some people don't like Stephen A. Smith, but quite a Philly guy. He's very connected. And he said, and he was reading from a text. He goes, this is a big Sixers insider. He goes, I'm not going to say his name, but he's big. And he said, the guy wrote Stephen A. Smith and said, Ben Simmons doesn't work. Ben Simmons is lazy. Ben Simmons doesn't listen. Ben Simmons is surrounded by family and yes men, and that Ben Simmons is never going to apply himself and live up to his potential. So at least according to Stephen A. Smith, and I don't think he would make this up. There's somebody who texted Stephen A. who said Ben Simmons just ain't worth it. He's got all of this money, this huge contract,
Guaranteed
this
money.
God-given ability, and he's just skating. Yeah. So I hope Ben Simmons has an awakening. You mentioned Keith Ron Lee, the freshman wide receiver for the Longhorns, who was just suspended. Maybe this level of everybody hating on you might be a wake-up call for Ben Simmons. You need to live up to your potential. But man, there are people who doubt that he ever will.
Yeah, and again, that contract, I mean, if there's ever been an argument for not giving people guaranteed contracts of large sums, this is certainly it. A guy who only shows up for the games and then doesn't even show up to really play in them. He's just kind of there. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, this whole bashing of him should die down as we get closer to the actual finals and again the Olympics and all that goes on later on this summer. All right, keeping it with the NBA, Chris. I was struggling to find stories this morning, and then I found this, and I don't know why it's been so buried. But the Globetrotters have asked the NBA to become a franchise. They want to be part of the NBA expansion. They said, look, we've been around for forever. We've had notable players like Wilt Chamberlain, Connie Hawkins, and Nat Clifton, who have gone on from playing with the Globetrotters to playing in the NBA. They've won 27,000 games and played in 123 countries. So they're saying, look, we are truly a global brand who can bring even more eyes to the NBA. We can compete with you guys. Now, on these 27,000 wins, Chris, I thought a lot of this was staged. Like, I know they had a lot of talent, but I thought the game for the most part was staged and that they're always supposed to beat the other team that they play. And that's just kind of the bit, right?
Yes.
So I don't know how much you put into those wins. But can you see it? I mean, expansion for the NBA has been on the table. It's already there. So
Yeah.
it's not like they got to get past that hurdle. But I don't know. Harlem Globetrotters, they're a show. I don't know that I don't see them as not being that. I don't see them as being part of the NBA and a team that, the Mavericks versus the Globetrotters this week. Like, what? No, that's weird.
I saw that story yesterday as well, and I was like, I still don't know what to make of it. It's like, is this real? Is this like The Onion? Is this, are they serious? And
they've sent a letter to Adam Silver.
Well, I see it both ways. I see, like you saying, Mavericks versus Globetrotters. That's impossible. But yet they are an international brand. I mean, if the NBA got serious about this and decided to do it, I mean, everybody's heard of the Harlem Globetrotters. It's a thought. I think it's worth looking at. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I think it's worth looking at.
I think the Globetrotters, right, they do all these crazy stunts and flips and tricks and funniness and whatever, and that is their brand. And at the same time, they put the ball in the hoop. But when you go to the NBA and then you take part in the draft and you take part in trying to win a championship, I think you lose all of that of what makes you the Harlem Globetrotters. And so I don't really know why you would want to get rid of that, because then the second you do that, someone else is going to become the new Harlem Globetrotters, insert whatever name they want to use, and take over your 123 country tours of being dominant against the random team that you set up to play against. I don't know. I don't dig it. But there you have it. Today's Salty Shakedown.
Excellent salty shakedown, and certainly that Globetrotters story is crazy. And again, I still don't know what to make of it, but there you have it. Coming up, Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs and our official NBA playoffs analyst, joining us this morning from Bethany Beach, Delaware. And we'll give away those Coheed and Cambria tickets as well coming up in the next half hour. Don't go anywhere. It's the Chris Duel Show. John, you are correct. A lot of those 27,000 wins were against the Washington Generals. Somebody just texted me about the Globetrotters. Let me see this. Michael, the Globetrotters had some wins against NBA teams in the 50s and the 60s. Okay. I did not know that. All right, I got to send an email. nice to know, as Jeremy says, and Warren, I think you already left by now, but yeah, we will give away tickets again tomorrow and Friday. See, I should probably write that to Warren because since he left, let me see if I can do that. Robert, I see you're mentioning those speakers on sale at Amazon. Yeah, I searched Amazon Prime each of the last 2 days. I wound up not buying anything. Nothing rocked my world. There was no deal that I thought was spectacular. I almost upgraded my Kindle, but I still didn't like the deal. John Williams says Tracy Williams of James Madison High School played for the Harlem Globetrotters. I did not know that. Of course, Meadowlark Lemon and Curly Neal, when I was a kid, were the biggest names on the Globetrotters. Yeah, they had that cartoon as well in the 70s. And it's weird. I wanted to get something on Amazon Prime Day. It's like, I'm here. Let's go. Show me something. I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to click. Add to my cart and let's go. Nope, nothing struck me. I mentioned this years ago, maybe 4 years ago by now. They had a really good deal, and I had never had an Amazon Echo device that's your Amazon Alexa. So I got one of those at a really good price. And then wound up, let's see, now we've got like 3 of them in the house, like one in each room, and then I got 2 more of them that I got from my mom's place. So I'm a big fan of the Amazon Echo now. Here we come. 8 o'clock hour. Woo! Woo!
This is the Chris Duel Show. You know it. Chris Duel.
We move into the 8 o'clock hour on this Wednesday, June 23rd, with so much going on in the sports world, especially in the NBA. It's the Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. And a programming note before we go to Bill Schoening, who will be joining us from beautiful Bethany Beach, Delaware, here in just a moment. A reminder, at 8:20, we're going to give away those tickets. We're doing it all week. Tickets to go see Coheed and Cambria and The Used with special guest Meet Me at the Altar. That will be on September 4th at Circuit of the Americas. So we're only about under 13 minutes away from your chance to win those tickets. We love talking basketball. We love talking all sports. And sometimes we talk music and pop culture with Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, longtime voice of the Texas Longhorns before he became the Spurs voice, just completed his 20th season as voice of the San Antonio Spurs. And this morning, joining us from Bethany Beach, Delaware, very exotic location. Bill Schoening, how are you doing this morning?
Very, very good. I already had my 2-mile walk on the beach this morning, so that was pretty cool. And, a lot of people, when they think of the East Coast, they hear about the Jersey Shore. Well, Delaware's kind of a hidden gem. Delaware is very close to New Jersey, obviously, but the beaches here are just as nice as the Jersey beaches, but less populated. So that's good. And I always love coming back to this part of the country during this time of the year. And, it's just a beautiful day here today. It's only going to get up to about 74. So nice ocean breezes. And you know how it is, Chris, in the morning, if you get up and you get on the beach, you just don't even feel like you're exercising, You're just looking at the beautiful nature here and the waves crash against the shore, hearing the seagulls, just awesome stuff.
It's so cool. And Bill, you sent me a beautiful photo of a sunrise there over the beach at Bethany Beach, Delaware. It's got to be great. We appreciate, especially when you're on vacation, you don't have to do this, Bill. We appreciate your jumping in here and talking some NBA basketball with us. Obviously, last week we were thinking about you because even though first and foremost, you're the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, and you're all about the San Antonio Spurs before any other team in the NBA, but you grew up in Philadelphia, so you've got a certain affection for the Philadelphia 76ers, and my goodness, games 5 and 6, the Sixers blow an 18-point and then a 26-point lead. Now everybody's talking about Ben Simmons. What happened to the Philadelphia 76ers in that series against the Atlanta Hawks?
First of all, being in the Philadelphia area, listening to sports talk radio in this area is kind of crazy. They're pretty opinionated up in this part of the world, as you can imagine. So not very happy with Ben Simmons only scoring 19 points in the final 3 games of that series. And as you mentioned, you can't blow a 24 or 26-point lead, especially late in the third quarter, and expect to win a series. And, of course, they still were in position to win the series in Game 7. And, again, they didn't execute well down the stretch. So it was a very disappointing finish. Of course, I picked Utah to get to the conference finals or to get to the NBA finals against Philly. So good thing I didn't put any money on that. That prediction would not have come true. But it's disappointing because I think Philly really has about as much talent as anybody in the Eastern Conference, with the exception of Brooklyn. But, of course, they had their injury problems. So this would have been a good year for Philly to, make the process work, trust the process. But it didn't work. So I don't know what's going to happen. I know there's a lot of people that are unhappy. So there could be some changes in Philadelphia. Now with Doc Rivers, he's only in his first year. He obviously just had his first season with the Sixers. So there may be some changes there. I was really surprised Utah went out because I thought they had a very good, complete team. Of course, I don't think Mike Conley was 100%, but the Clippers obviously didn't have Kawhi Leonard for the latter part of that series. So there's a lot of different things going on with injuries. It's crazy, Chris, to just kind of sit back and watch this thing happen from a distance right now. But a lot of different things happening in the league. Obviously, Phoenix with a big win last night. So I'm still keeping an eye on it, but from a distance. Like I said, it's weird not to be kind of part of it. But the Spurs will be back there soon, I'm sure.
Bill, we thought the NBA would be upset without the Lakers and LeBron in the playoffs, but with all these storylines, things seem to be going pretty well for the NBA. But one of the major off the court storylines is Becky Hammon, as there are, 7 job openings now for head coaching positions in the NBA. She is now finalist for that Portland Trailblazers job. Of the open options at the head coaching position, do you like this one for her compared to some of the others that maybe she has a chance at getting?
There's all kinds of different positions out there right now. You mentioned 7 different jobs, and I'm not sure, what job she's most interested in. You mentioned Portland. Obviously, there's openings all over the place now, and some are very surprising openings, right? I mean, I didn't think Dallas would obviously be open with what's going on up there in Dallas. Becky's going to be successful wherever she goes. She's got a great basketball mind. She knows about relationships. She's learned a lot from Greg Popovich. She's learned a lot from everybody she's played with and played for. Or coach for even. And I think that when you look at Becky's overall package, what she brings to the table, she's going to get one of these jobs, I would imagine, if offered. So she's got a very bright future as a head coach. And obviously, she learned a lot in the Spurs system. And it'll be, if she does get one of these jobs, it'll be tough to see her go because she's been so important about what they've done here in the last 6-7 years.
He's the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening, who has been kind enough throughout these NBA playoffs to become our playoff analyst. And Bill, as we mentioned, the San Antonio Spurs by way of Becky Hammon. Of course, we find out last night the Spurs did not win the NBA lottery. They only had a 1.7% chance, so it was overwhelming that they would not, so that was expected. Detroit gets the number 1 pick in the NBA draft coming up. 2nd, Houston. 3rd, Cleveland. But kind of circling back a little bit to Ben Simmons of the Sixers for a moment. I have heard some speculation that, and I'm hearing national people. I heard Dan Patrick bring up Chip England yesterday on his national show saying, maybe somebody like a Chip England could work with Ben Simmons on his shooting to, make him a better player. And even Bruce Bowen in the national media was speculating about if maybe the Spurs might make a play to bring a Ben Simmons to San Antonio. But I'm also hearing, and it's funny you brought up Philadelphia radio because I had a friend of mine on the West Coast telling me the day after the Sixers lost saying, you've got to listen to WIP in Philadelphia. They're skewering the entire club and Ben Simmons. One of the things I'm hearing, Bill, is that Ben Simmons, given the passion of Philadelphia sports fans, that he almost can't go back to Philadelphia next year. Is that something you agree with? Do you think that organization could stick around with Ben Simmons, and do you think he could make it work as a Philadelphia 76er moving forward?
I don't know much about the relationship between Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons. I think that's part of this whole equation is how well those guys get along and how much Ben trusts Doc and vice versa. And will Ben work hard enough during the offseason? Because this has been an issue for him. He's never been a great shooter. And I've heard Philadelphia fans complain about the fact that he passes up open shots all the time. He's obviously got great physical skills, number 1 overall pick of the draft. But, how badly does he want it? Does he want to go in the gym and just, really work hard like Kawhi Leonard did, with Chip England? And he became a great shooter, great quarter shooter. His 3-point percentage moved up. So it depends on how much work Ben Simmons wants to put into it. I think that the Philadelphia fans could probably forgive him if he comes back and has a great year next year. But there are certain expectations. And playing in that city is very difficult because the expectations are that you're going to play hard and play well. And they don't like it when you fall short or they feel like you're not working hard enough to justify your salary and justify where you are in the league. And that's unfortunate because, it's one of those situations where, Doc's got to really work with Ben or one of the assistant coaches, but he's got to get in the gym and really work on his outside shot. Because other than that, he's a complete player. Obviously, he's a very good passer. He's a good rebounder. He's got good size. But, when you've got your point guard, you got to take him out because you can't hit free throws. Now, that's a tough situation. That's one thing when you got a big man that struggles with the line because he's not going to touch the ball as much. But if you got a guy that's handling the ball a lot, he's got to be able to hit free throws down the stretch.
Well, Bill, we heard that Ben Simmons is most likely headed to LA to work out. He's denied going to the Olympics to play with Australia, of course, the country he hails from. And on the U.S. side of things, we've now heard Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Kevin Love have all accepted invitations to play for Team USA, while the likes of Steph Curry have said no thank you. But I don't know, can you blame them? I mean, we learned yesterday they're going to be sleeping on cardboard beds, these Olympic athletes, and I think that's next to insane. I get that they're trying to be eco-friendly, but given the season that the NBA had with the later start and later finish, even though they did shorten the season, and given how late last year's season went, can you blame them? I mean, so many people have a hard time believing you get the opportunity to be an Olympian, represent your country, the USA on your chest, and you say no. Steph Curry has never been an Olympian.
Well, it's an individual's right. I mean, if you want to go ahead and do that, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. I mean, every player has his own little ailments that he's got to deal with during the summer, or maybe his own plans. So I would never say, look out. I just didn't want to play for this Olympic team, especially in this year where things have been so crazy. I think that there's also a mental fatigue, Shannon, that plays into it as well. Not just the physical fatigue, but, after all of this, what these guys have been through with COVID, and traveling the way they've had to travel, and they basically, as we've talked about all year long, being sequestered in the hotel room, maybe you just want to give your body and your mind a break for a few months, So I wouldn't look down on any player that turns down an opportunity to play for the Olympic team, especially this year. But that, again, is up to an individual. I think Pop will be able to put together a really good team. I think it'll be a very competitive team. Obviously, there's going to be some very good competition. I think that the world is getting better and better when it comes to basketball. There are some very good players on other national teams that are not necessarily NBA guys that have played very, very well over in Europe or elsewhere, and that could also represent their various national teams. So regardless of the roster that they're able to put together for Team USA, I still think it's going to be a challenge to play some of these other ball clubs in the Olympics. And, all the different hurdles that the NBA guys had to overcome, that'll make it just a little bit more of a challenge.
He's the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. And Bill, I find it interesting that Steph Curry is declining, knowing that the guy sitting next to Coach Greg Popovich will be Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is the lead assistant to Greg Popovich on Team USA. And you mentioned Pop and the Olympics. Bill, are you as geeked up as I am to see Olympic basketball, just among other reasons, for Coach Pop, who has done so much in the NBA, has done so much for the San Antonio Spurs? It's like, what more can this guy do? Well, what he could do is lead Team USA to gold if all things work out. This is going to be fun to watch beginning on July 23rd when the Olympics begin in Tokyo.
I am looking forward to it, not just basketball, but all the sports, as a matter of fact. It would be a crowning achievement for Pop, that little cherry on top of the pie, if you will, because he's done so much in the sport of basketball at different levels. But, that would be great. Of course, we'll all be pulling for him. And, the amazing thing is, too, that
contest coming.
He didn't start his NBA career until, I guess, his late 40s, right? So the fact that he is number one all-time in combined wins, playoffs, and regular season, and he didn't really get his first opportunity to coach an NBA team until much later than a lot of guys did. Shows you how good and consistent the Spurs have been under Greg Popovich for 25 years.
Yeah, and you look at Pop's biography, and if I have it right, Bill, and you may have this more accurate than I do, but I believe back in 72, Pop tried out, coming out of the Air Force Academy. He tried out for the U.S. Olympic team, and I believe it might have been Bobby Knight who Pop apparently made the last round of cuts and didn't finally make the team, was finally cut after being a finalist. So it would be kind of a full circle thing for Pop if he winds up as coach, earning the gold or leading the team to gold in Tokyo. Bill, we're going to pause for just a second as we're going to give away some tickets, and we'll find out if you've heard of any of these bands. Shannon, we've got tickets to see Coheed and Cambria and The Used and Meet Me at the Altar at Circuit of the Americas on September 4th. What caller, Shannon, would you like to give these tickets away to?
Texas had 8 runs yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and say caller number 8 today, 1-800-707-9760 to win the Coheed and Cambria tickets at Germania Insurance Amphitheater this September on a Saturday, no less. 1-800-707-9760, one of the best places to see live performances in Austin. Call now. Caller 8.
And as Shannon brings up the 8 runs Texas scored in the College World Series yesterday, in a moment, Bill, we'll ask you about the Texas Longhorns in the College World Series. But you're a music guy, you're a singer-songwriter, and you enjoy live music. And I will admit, when I heard, and this is how unhip I am, Bill, I did not know of Coheed and Cambria or The Used or Meet Me at the Altar. Are you in the same boat I am, Bill Schoening?
Yes, Chris, I'm an old guy like you. I'm not familiar with The Used, although I kind of like the name of this band. But Meet Me at the Altar, they got a great bass player. I have no idea. So I probably won't be able to make that show out at Coda, but I'm sure that there are some listeners that are really up on these guys and will enjoy the show.
And there are. We some people love, especially Coheed and Cambria. All right, Bill. I know you're vacationing in Delaware. Have you gotten a chance to watch any Texas Longhorns in the College World Series?
Only in the background, because the Mississippi State game the other night was actually on at a sports bar, and it was on the tube, but right next to the Sixers game. So I got my chance to watch some of that. And Mississippi State's pitching was very good in that ball game. Yesterday, I just saw the highlights where they scored 8 runs over Tennessee in an elimination game. And I told you this before, Chris, and I don't know much about the Texas baseball team. I did one of their games this year, actually, when they were playing Texas State. But the College World Series, I think, is one of the most underrated sporting events in the country. It's a great slice of Americana. You got 8 different teams that come in from different parts of the country. They used to play at Rosenblatt Stadium, but they closed that stadium. Now they play at another ballpark there in Omaha, and it's really a cool spot. It just seems like everybody's in a great mood. And I always tell people you can go to Wrigley Field and not like baseball, but still have a great time. And that's the way it is with the College World Series. You can go hang out at the College World Series and just kind of watch the pomp and circumstance and the good baseball as well. But there's just something really Americana about it. It's an American way of life, and everybody seems to get along. I remember one year we were up there in both southwestern Louisiana, which is now the University of Louisiana, and LSU were in the same World Series. So you had basically the state of Louisiana took over Nebraska, and the parking lot was just full of people playing Zydeco music and drinking, morning tailgating, and they were cooking gumbo and jambalaya and etouffee. And these people from Nebraska had never seen anything quite like it. So I really enjoy the College World Series. It's a great event.
Bill, I want to keep it with baseball here for a second. I'm going to assume that you're a bit of a Phillies fan, as you are from the area, and they, of course, played the Nationals last night. But the big story was not the Nationals' win over the Phillies, but Max Scherzer and his antics. He was staring down the Phillies baseline and got one of the coaches thrown out after he threw a fit about it. There was also some issue with Max Scherzer getting checked for foreign substances. At one point, even threw his glove on the ground, started taking his pants off to say, look, I am not cheating over here. But what are your thoughts on, because now they're doing this. They're doing it all over the place, right? They're checking before games, but now they're checking in the middle of games, slowing down the game even more. What are your thoughts on this foreign substance policy now taking place in the MLB?
I'm probably in the minority, but I'm live and let live when it comes to this type of thing because, I played baseball, organized baseball for 9 years. There's always little tricks of the trade, there's always little things you do to get stealing signs from second base. That's okay with me. That's part of the deal, try to pick up where the bunt sign is from the third base coach, what the key is. We would do those sorts of things. I don't necessarily agree with putting a lot of foreign substances on a ball, but they need to do something to speed the game up because all these different things are slowing it down. I think that it's taken away from the attractiveness of the game. Baseball is a great game, but I would like to see not necessarily a speed clock, but I really enjoy doing play-by-play when a pitcher is going to get the ball and pitch. If he's going to take a half hour to toe the rubber and walk around the mound, it does drag a little bit. So especially when you compare it to basketball, which is so fast-paced, with a 24-second shot clock and boom, boom, boom. It's a whole different kind of, at least from the broadcaster's perspective, a whole different kind of dynamic.
Finally, Bill, as we mentioned this morning, you are in Bethany Beach, Delaware. You already took a walk on the beach at daybreak. Any other vacation plans before you return to the great state of Texas?
I don't want to go to work for the state of New York Tourism Bureau, but this trip started out by going up to the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York, and it's just gorgeous up there. Every hike we went on at different state parks in that region had waterfalls, or some had multiple waterfalls. And I just really kind of dig that because I like to hike. And then in the afternoon, we went to the wineries, and they've got beautiful wineries along these lakes. So if you ever get a chance to go to the Finger Lakes region of New York, it's a very, very nice vacation, especially if you like to sip wine a little bit or take hikes in the morning. That's basically what we did.
That sounds idyllic to me. Hikes by waterfalls in the morning and then wineries afternoon and evening. Sounds like a perfect way to spend a number of days. The voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. Bill, always fantastic to talk NBA and all sports and life with you. And especially we appreciate your being so gracious to take some time out of your vacation this morning in Bethany Beach, Delaware. Bill, continue to enjoy, and we'll talk again real soon. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Very good, Chris. I'm going to head to the record store right now and get the latest from Meet Me at the Altar.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Bill Schoening, everybody. And someday soon this summer, we're going to play you some Bill Schoening. We've done that before. Bill, a tremendous singer, songwriter, musician in his own right. Coming up, we'll find out who the winner was for the tickets to see Coheed and Cambria, The Used, and Meet Me at the Altar. By the way, if you didn't win tickets this morning, you got 2 more shots tomorrow and Friday. We'll be giving away the tickets probably at the same time, knowing us. We're with you till 9. We will scour the internets, plural, to see if there's any big breaking sports news. We'll get you ready for everything you need to know on this Wednesday, June 23rd, which will include game number 1 tonight at 7:30 on TNT between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. That and a lot more. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. Jeremy Fouts, public enemy number 1, is your soundscape stylist. I'm Chris. It's the Chris Duel Show. All righty. Woo! 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 All right. I am going to get a little more iced tea for the final segment. I'm making the transition. Jason says Google Home for the win. All right, I'll be right back. See you in a sec. Getting some ice and some tea. Therefore, iced tea. Woo! Oh. Take the headphones off. Get rid of that. Today's tea, since yesterday's tea was sweetened, is HEB TX, I guess Texas brewed tea. Thank you very much. Chris Duel Show. Jeremy Fouts doing an excellent job as soundscape stylist on a morning that he was pulled over by police officers on the way to work. If you were listening earlier, they were looking for a suspect car that fit the description of his car. And little did police officers know that it was the pride of Oklahoma Christian University and soundscape stylist Jeremy Fouts, and not some run-of-the-mill criminal they were pulling over. And Jeremy, you did say that your encounter with the police officer, that he was very polite.
Oh,
correct?
Yes, it was a very good interaction. He was very nice. He had a big beaming smile on his face.
Wow.
He might be the ideal police officer.
So he didn't say, "Out of the car, scumbag! Get on the ground!"
He might have wanted to until he saw that he was talking to the SATX Foxy Grandpa.
Woo.
And then he lightened up a little bit.
So maybe he'll become a Twitter follower of you now.
Oh,
By the way, Jeremy is on Twitter at SATX Foxy Grandpa. I don't
That
put
is
that
correct.
out there nearly enough. Shannon is on all sorts of social media: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Friendster, probably at Shannon B. Sweeney on all social media platforms. MySpace. Were you alive for MySpace? Was MySpace ever a thing for you?
I was alive for it, but I didn't have it.
Yeah, you were like 4.
My parents didn't allow me to jump on socials until I got to high school.
Wow. A smart move.
Yeah.
Good parenting. I noticed I during the break, just seeing if there's anything new and exciting, I went to TMZ Sports. And if you go to tmzsports.com, their lead story, you've been talking about it this morning, Shannon. They've got close-up pictures, which are not, you don't want to get too close, to a Devin Booker's nose. It's not pretty. And they've got him side by side. Many moons ago, Steve Nash got his nose just destroyed. So they've got a side-by-side photo of Steve Nash and Devin Booker. Nash had a worse nose back in the day, back in his NBA playing career.
This one kind of looks like a Owen Wilson
Mm.
vibe. A little puffed up there. My honest to God, my first reaction when I saw his picture was, is Kendall Jenner gonna dump him? Because that Kardashian clan is so much about perspective and what they look like and
Yes.
who they're hanging out looks like, and it's not a good look.
But they're also about fame and fortune.
Yeah.
And right now,
probably tending to him right now.
yes. Yeah, and the Kardashians probably know some really good plastic surgeons who can fix that nose right up.
Yeah, we'll get you fixed right up. Good.
Yeah. So plus, I mean, if Devin Booker could win, and I mean, I would imagine right now, Vegas, I haven't seen the odds, but at the moment, I'll bet you the Suns are more favored to win the NBA championship than the Bucks or the Hawks, and now up 2-0 more than the Clippers at this moment. So if you're a Kardashian, you know, Devin Booker, A, could be an NBA champion, and B, would, I think, be the odds-on favorite to be NBA MVP. Mm-hmm. So that he's a pretty good guy to latch onto at the moment.
Yes. Although that they're certainly not in it for the money. They have enough of that.
That's true. If you're a Kardashian,
much of it, in fact,
yeah,
I would say
you don't need that much money. So we have mentioned game number 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight, 7:30 on TNT. Thank goodness it's TNT. That means we get Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Shaq along with Ernie Johnson. That's always must-see TV. Texas, as you mentioned, Shannon, has the night off. It'll be Virginia tomorrow, 6 o'clock in Omaha, as Texas, if anybody's just tuning in, they beat Tennessee yesterday 8-4. Peyton Manning was there in attendance supporting his Tennessee Volunteers. So that's a good thing for Peyton. Woo. Oh, and yesterday was the Major League Baseball debut. One of the cooler names in baseball, Wander Franco. 20-year-old switch hitting infielder sensation, maybe the number 1 prospect out there in baseball for the Tampa Bay Rays. He had a 3-run home run in his Major League Baseball debut, but the Rays still lost the game. So, but you're going to hear a lot more of that name, most people believe, Wander Franco of the Tampa Bay Rays.
It's a pretty fantastic debut.
Yeah.
The only thing that could have gone better was for them to get a win.
Yeah, and that was at home. That would have been cool. They went 11 innings. The Red Sox beat the Rays 9-5 in 11 innings. But Wander Franco in general, though, yeah, about as good other than the win, a Major League debut as you can get. 4 at-bats, 2 hits, 2 runs, home run, 3-run home run, 3 RBIs. So, yeah, so his batting average already 500. He's leading the majors in batting average at 500, Shannon, sort of. You could say.
Minimum.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is.
You got to get to some threshold before.
Yeah, I think you need more. I think you need more than 4 at-bats.
Yeah.
But, there's that. So, Wander Franco. And, of course, we mentioned the Houston Astros. They're on a huge roll. They beat Baltimore yesterday 3-1. They've won 9 games in a row. They are the hottest team in baseball. They've won 10 of their last 11, 13 of their last 15. With the win, they now have the best record in the American League, which is crazy. If you would have said that a week ago, we wouldn't have believed it, but 9 wins in a row will do that for you. Most runs in Major League Baseball at 412. No other team even has 400. They've got the best run differential at plus 122. No other team in baseball has a run differential better than 100. So Astros back in action at Baltimore, 6:05 first pitch later this evening. So it's good to be an Astro. Sorry, haters. Haters can't be happy right now, Shannon, about the Houston Astros.
Well, I don't think they're paying attention now that their own teams are getting checked for foreign substances. But I'm not going to be able to watch tonight's game. My head will be focused directly on my TV for the Austin FC game.
Woo!
At Minnesota. I think this is our first 2-game week, which
That is
awesome.
a little.
I love it.
They just played Saturday night in Austin.
Played Saturday night in Austin. They play Minnesota tonight, and then Sunday they are back at home to take on Columbus Crew. And if you head over to am13onthezone.com, we have your shot to win tickets, and they're the hardest tickets to get in town. And all you got to do is register. So if you want to go to the game, it's a fantastic atmosphere. Head over there to try and your best and win tickets. We'll be doing this all season long too. So your shot, if you don't get it this time, just keep coming back every week and registering because it is a fantastic atmosphere. I'm excited I'm going to the game on July 7th.
Beautiful.
So excited for that. Hopefully it's not too hot. I want yesterday's weather. Yesterday was great.
It was a little cooler yesterday. Yeah.
Perfect.
So now any more Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, high five watch parties coming up for Austin FC in the future?
I don't think we've got anything set up right now. High five, I think, is putting their efforts into the July 4th event out at Lakeway from open to 4 p.m. Setting things up for folks with autism to come out and have an enjoyable experience. No sirens, no flashing lights, no bells and whistles, just all the fun of high five catered to them to experience it in a way that is in a comfortable setting. So I think that's where their efforts are focused right now.
That is way cool. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, and maybe the Friday before that, we might just give a high five to high five, because when I heard you talk about that yesterday, I just thought that is so cool. That so many fun things to do for adults and kids at high five, and now for kids and for their parents. Kids, that have autism can just enjoy like everybody else, and not have to worry about all the loud bells and whistles, which is way cool. The NBA draft lottery was last night. Of course, I'm a freak, so I paid attention. The crazy long shot hopes that the Spurs at 1.7% might maybe get into the top 4, maybe, or no, it didn't happen. Spurs will be at number 12, but we now know the Detroit Pistons, Shannon, they got the number 1 pick in the NBA draft lottery, followed by Houston at number 2, Cleveland at number 3. And as you mentioned yesterday, Shannon, Cade Cunningham of Oklahoma State is the prize of the NBA draft. So in all probability, barring a shocker, Cade Cunningham is destined for the Detroit Pistons. Yeah, I don't know if you can be that excited if you're Cade Cunningham going to the Pistons.
Pull an Eli Manning? Because I'd rather Houston.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Houston they kind of fell this year and due to circumstances. And Detroit's just Detroit. So
I know. Yeah.
But he'll be all right. He's gonna make a lot of money.
Yes.
It's just your rookie contract.
You
go somewhere else later.
And Detroit, I mentioned earlier today that it's the anniversary of when the Spurs went 7 games and beat the Detroit Pistons back in 2005. I think Detroit was defending NBA champions going into that. Detroit had a couple of, in my lifetime, they had the Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, bad boy era where they won a title. back when they kept going up against the Chicago Bulls. So they were really good. Then Dennis Rodman was a part of those Pistons before he went on to be a Spur and a Chicago Bull. Then you had, the Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, that era of Pistons that did win a championship and went 7 with the Spurs. So, Detroit has in the past had a history of being really, really good and winning championships. So if you're Cade Cunningham, maybe you want to be a part of the next renaissance and the next emergence of the Detroit Pistons. I don't know.
Yeah, but we talk about markets, and just living in Detroit sounds.
It does. It sounds rough. It sounds rough. Yeah. They projected at number 2 since the Houston Rockets will be picking second in the NBA draft. USC's Evan Mobley, a 6'11 center, kind of a big deal. So maybe Evan Mobley theoretically could be headed to Houston. I know Jalen Green is another big name. Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga, another big name. And then a Texan, at least he played at Baylor, Davion Mitchell, supposedly in the top 5. So he could go very, very high as well.
And Jericho Sims coming in with incredible measurements, especially on his hops. Dude can reach the rim. So he should be, I don't know if he'll be a lottery pick, but he should be within the first round for sure.
Very, very cool. One other in completely different realm from the boxing realm, your buddy YouTube star Jake Paul now saying he next wants to take on Canelo Alvarez. So
they just open their mouth and whatever.
Yeah, I'll take on anybody. Yeah, exactly. It's all about
me the most money.
It's all about clicks.
Kind of like they're in real life living the scenarios that you play with your friends, right? Like,
yeah.
Would you take a paintball to the chest if I give you $500? Like they are doing. Will you be punched in the face by a professional athlete in front of a live audience for millions and millions of dollars? I'd probably say yes.
Mm-hmm.
He owns a jet.
Yeah.
Because he is fine with being that guy that he is. Okay. I'll go in the ring.
I wonder if he owns a jet. I wonder if he's going to go into space with Jeff Bezos. That might be his next big thing.
I doubt it. I think he and his brother moved to like Puerto Rico, and I don't think they've got the same operations that NASA does. To get him there.
Yeah, this big, and I know we're out of time, and we'll check the poll question, but this Jeff Bezos launch, it's 11 minutes. They're going up. They're going to be weightless for 3 minutes. The whole flight is 11 minutes. It's crazy.
Dumbest millions of dollars.
Yeah, but he'll say, hey, man, I was in space. So bragging rights. All right, Shannon, our poll question. I know we're running late, but who wins tonight's game based on our poll question?
We've got votes in for the Milwaukee Bucks to take game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
This bud's for you, Coach Mike Budenholzer. Jeremy Fouts, try to avoid police officers on the way home. Great job today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you some other time.
We'll do it as long as you're not behind bars.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll have you patted down on your way in. Shannon Salty Sweeney, spectacular as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Go Verde.
Go Verde. That's right. Woo! Austin FC in action tonight. Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, joining us on vacation earlier this hour from Bethany Beach, Delaware. You got to love that guy. Go, gosh, I don't know, who do I pull for tonight? I guess the Bucks, more Spurs connections there. So I guess I'll say go Bucks, go Austin FC, go Houston Astros. Let's get 10 in a row tonight. Why the heck not? For Shannon, for Jeremy, I'm Chris. Have yourself a great Wednesday. We'll see you in 21 hours. Adios, muchachos.